Hey guys, SK here. Just wanted to let you know in advance that this series comes with a heavy content warning for graphic depictions of violence and abuse, both physical and psychological. The creator also has a small battery of content warnings they wanted to put out front, and we'll list those in full in the description below. Thanks. Yo!
Hello.
Hi everyone! This game, starts off with some pretty important content warnings. So I thought we would start here just to make sure we all get on the same page here. The author has listed their suggested age ratings for this game, and also a whole host of content warnings, which I'll go through real quick. This game contains potentially upsetting content and should not be played by anyone who experiences detrimental psychological effects when exposed to these: bullying, social ostracization, and religious, psychological, emotional abuse and manipulation. Graphic and abstract violence and horrific death. Violent, but not grotesque, torture. Strong horror elements in all aspects of design. Sudden images, text, or sounds, also known as jumpscares. However, this game does not contain screamers or excessively loud sounds. Thank you. Surreal and unexplainable things, and insects crawling wherever they damn please. All right. It's quite a list. Furthermore, this game should not be played at all by those with criminal or narcissistic inclinations, those who demonize, idolize, fetishize, or otherwise strip the humanity of minority groups. Actually, that's just a good, blanket statement for most of this channel anyway. Those who soothe themselves with perfectly happy or perfectly unhappy stories. Those who try and resist the electromagnetic radiation poisoning, or those with a screen resolution so large the game window is the size of an ant. If you can no longer continue, please install the game here. Well, thankfully, we are not screen whores. We've got a nice, moderately sized television that we're playing on right now, and the screen is the size of at least several ants, possibly an uncle. But please do take those content warnings to heart, because we're playing Soundless by Milk Plus. This is what our patrons voted on this month. And I had no idea what this was going into it. I did look up a couple things about it just to make sure that it was going to be okay for us to play on the channel. It'll be fine. But see if you could figure out where the inspiration was from how it's presented.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think we're playing this at a very fortuitous time. All right, let's do this. Do you want to narrate or do you want me to narrate? I'll narrate. My voice is nice and phlegmy, so that way. Get some of that chunk. Wow, that autoforward. Everyone's singing to each other. Happy songs, angry songs, sad songs, nostalgic songs. In this town, songs of every kind are heard every day. Sometimes their songs go on non-stop, without any rests. They're songs shared between good friends or bitter enemies, who, either way, can't stop chattering with one another. Sometimes the songs are slow, deliberate, and meaningful. They're songs shared between older people, or someone delivering a sermon. And sometimes the songs don't have much melody. They're between inexperienced composers too nervous to share their own work. When I was little, my mom sung every word to me to clear up the monotony of everyday life in this town. Since then, everything sounds like a song. Nothing can ever get boring if you hear the melodies between everyone's words. But now, nobody sings to me anymore. Nobody is allowed to. It's the rule.
Hmm.
The chairs clattered and screeched before class that morning. The songs of the students resonated throughout the hall, leaking through the open doors, pouring into the room, drowning and suffocating me. If I spoke to anyone, I'd hear something ugly and vile. I covered my ears. It's better to keep everything soundless. Title drop. We're not even 3 minutes in and already got a title drop.
I don't know, I hear sounds.
That's true, there are sounds. A blurry, shapeless beetle crawled its way onto the tip of my finger. It jumped down and merged with the paper, looking perfectly like a pencil smudge. An ink-like tree root grabbed onto my pencil, threatening to pull it down. My vision was red. The beetles did not talk, and neither did the roots. They didn't even chitter or squeak. I couldn't call them friends. I couldn't even call them acquaintances. They were my mortal enemy. No, the town's mortal enemy. This is everyone's battle. That's what the head said. I should let someone know. I learned it doesn't matter whether I hide that I'm seeing things or not, because someone will figure it out anyways. Some kids were already looking my way. The teacher walked in, stood in front of a chalkboard with thousands of eyes plastered all over it, and took roll. He did it methodically and mechanically, making sure to get every one of us. It was late enough in the year I could tell when it was my turn without taking my hands off my ears. I croaked out affirmation. Here. Class began. Like every other time I'd get like this, it all blurred together. The notes became indecipherable. The things I wrote in my notebooks were either chicken scratch or random strings of letters. I was only copying what was on the board. The lunch start bell rang. The lunch end bell rang. I didn't even bother getting up to take my share. Faust probably would have just stolen my food anyways. Oh my god, Faust is here? Ooh. Before I realized it, the school ended just as quickly, and I began to shut my notebook. A familiar hand wedged itself forcefully between the pages before I could completely close it. Do you want to be whoever this is?
Yeah. Hey, Mercy.
It was Clara. Right behind her were a few friends. Hi, Clara.
The teacher kept calling on you, but you didn't answer. You're seeing things, aren't you? Look, your notes look like shit.
Yeah. Clara smiled and giggled, glancing at her friends.
You're so easy. Well, then, since Delilah's off training today, I guess we have to take her place.
So you can show off your hack apostle skills? Oh, who is this? Oh, no, that's Faust. That was... Oh, hello, Faust. Faust sauntered past us, smirking at Clara. He was the only one in the class who still mocked her. He was a delinquent, one who needed serious saving. I rarely saw him at the church. And I didn't like it when he decided to discipline me.
Shut up, Faust.
Have a lovely afternoon, Clara. Thankfully, he wasn't interested in messing with me that day. He left the room with his friends without saying anything else, and as soon as the door shut, Clara picked up all the books scattered on my desk.
These are so messy.
I think that's still her.
They're covered in creepy dark blotches. That's weird. It's like they're really cursed or something.
Or maybe this is her and her posse.
Oh, probably.
Because she's got some people with her, right?
You're right.
Clara walked out the door. I followed. She approached the trash chute in the hallway. It was large to accommodate lots of trash from messy kids, so you could fit lots of things in there. What are you doing with my supplies?
Take a wild guess, idiot.
Clara opened up the trash chute and placed my copy of the Dual Compendium inside. It was the only textbook we worked from, and it was hard to make new copies. She destroyed that. I don't think that's necessary.
This book touched your other papers, right? The cursed one. It has to go, Mercy. I'm just looking out for everyone.
Yeah, we're just trying to help.
I'm assuming that's what her posse sounds like. I didn't believe that for a second, and lunged at the trash chute, making a desperate grab for my textbook. Clara's two friends restrained me. My body was so weak from taking constant beatings, I couldn't fight back. Not that I'd fight back if I had the energy anyways. There's no real point. Clara put my notebook in as I looked on, exhausted.
Already out of fight, huh?
She seemed disappointed.
Well, whatever. You're going to get in serious trouble when the teacher finds out. Delilah will be back tomorrow. I'm sure she'll find a good way to discipline you.
She placed my schedule book on top of the stack. My heart sunk as I watched her push the whole stack down the chute. The books rattled around as they made their way down, eventually stopping at the compactor beneath our feet. Clara shut the chute door and pressed the button. The compactor came to life, mechanical buzzes and whirs emanating from below. The floor vibrated. There were some plastic and paper crinkling sounds right before it stopped. The button turned green again. The girls let go of me and left with Clara, walking down the stairs to the first floor. She called out to me without looking back.
Good work, Mercy. See you tomorrow.
As their backs disappeared down the stairs, their piercing laughs echoed throughout the empty school building.
Oh, ho, 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 ho.
Nice. I was all alone. I decided I might as well get my empty bag and go home. Honest question, what do you call the genre? Because this is definitely part of a definite genre of queer games that are reckoning with a religious upbringing.
Yeah.
Is there a name for that genre, or
I think that.
Okay. I'm just it's a mouthful is all I'm getting. And not enough of a response from you for me to have enough time to get in my coffee is all I'm saying.
Oh, I see. It was a gambit.
It was a so
But I outsmarted you.
What do you mean outsmarted? Now I don't have any coffee.
Ha! Wait. I outsmarted myself.
Aww. I headed down the stairs to the first floor, past the primary school classes, and pressed my hand against the door anxiously. Everyone is going to be mad. When I left the school, I glanced to my left. Right by the school was a path that led out of the town. I'd always been curious about it, but we weren't allowed to leave. I didn't have reason to leave anyways. I left quickly before I wasted any more time. Whoa! I walked up the dirt path on the hill towards the river in the middle of town. The ground outside was a little damp. A group of adults stood near the river, waiting for the pre-dinner drink. I joined them, standing a fair distance away from them, not wanting to attract any attention. Adults were neither kind to me nor cruel. They only kept their distance and walked a little faster when I ended up behind them.
Mercy.
But the eldest people in town were different. I looked to my right. There was the old woman who lived near the river, gesturing for me to come over. I made my way to her front porch. She reached under her shawl and rummaged around in her dress pocket.
Mercy, I made another barrier cross for you.
Her wrinkled hand shook as she pulled out a little weaved grass cross attached to a blue ribbon. She always gave these to me. I took it and put it in my jacket pocket.
Please try wearing it this time. If your true self is harmed spiritually when people are removing the curse,
She wiggled her fingers around and closed her eyes, trying to remember what she was going to say. I waited patiently for her to finish.
Then, it doesn't matter. We want you to be set free, not destroyed.
I clutched it nervously. I didn't want to disappoint her, especially when she was being so nice to me. But the head said when the last time he caught me with one...
That it's protecting the curse? He's paranoid, Mercy. It's fine, trust me.
The woman waved her hands dismissively. I nodded, biting my lip, still unsure, and left with a quiet, "Thank you." Members of the clergy came down the hill with baskets full of gilded ladles, and everyone crowded near the river, more and more people joining as time passed. I stood as far as I could from the growing crowd. Some people I recognized from school. They were already in their casual clothing, shoving each other around jokingly and laughing about things I didn't quite understand. The apostles blessed the ladies with a prayer. Everyone received their share of water, even the old woman. The crowd grew smaller and smaller and smaller. Finally, the last straggler got their water, and I walked towards the only basket of ladles left. The young apostle, holding it, almost wandered off without me. Victoria, stop. Nope.
Oh.
A man who I recognized as Delilah's father put a hand on her shoulder. The apostle gave me a disgusted look and reluctantly put down the basket. I took a ladle, quickly got my water from the river, and threw it back in, running off to the church on the hill before anyone could say anything. It's better this way. It's always better this way.
Mercy, you're late. The head and Yia have already finished dinner.
The barrier-head priestess gave me a disappointed look as I walked into the church. I ended up slipping and tumbling down on my way up the hill, and now I was covered in mud. My whole body hurt. She shook her head and sighed.
I suppose you're going without dinner tonight. Come, I'm taking you to your room.
Yes, ma'am. She had a nasty look on her face with the whole way up the stairs. When she tripped on the top step, she groaned. I flinched.
You know, Mercy, would it really hurt to be a little more grateful every once in a while? We could have executed you. You're aware of that, right?
Yes.
We feed you. We give you clean clothes. All we're asking is for you to make it back home in time.
Yes. She opened the door to my room, letting me inside with some parting words.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You'd do best to remember those words.
I nodded again.
Good night.
The priestess shut the door. I peeled off my dirty clothes and put on my nightgown. Then I took the little cross in my pocket and hid it at the bottom of my drawer. If an acolyte found it while cleaning my room, they'd tell the head. He'd definitely hit me for it. Exhausted, I climbed into my bed and tried my best to sleep, hoping tomorrow would be a little easier. Damn, what is going on here?
Strange and bad things.
Once, I was loved. I'd always been able to see things others couldn't. Like white butterflies floating between blades of grass, or flowers growing on barren trees. It was a sight I was gifted with. Mom and Dad smiled whenever I told them I saw sparkles around them. And they always laughed when I said happy grass was growing all around us. So one day, after chorus practice, they approached the head.
Look, head priest, our daughter is a prodigy. A one-of-a-kind individual with a penchant for seeing the unseen.
When my parents proved it, we moved out of our little home into the church. The group dressed me in elegant robes and sat me atop a platform on the stage. Day in and day out, people would come and seek my sight, asking if I saw good or bad omens. Everyone's excited singing was so beautiful. I didn't go to school like the other kids did. I was special. A lot of the kids scowled when their parents dragged them in to see me. I guess it's only fair. I'd always get jealous when I watched them play downhill. A rare few admired me, and most of those rare few tried to take tests to become apostles when they came of age. Their gaze was refreshing. I welcomed it. My visions were always good. People would smile and thank me, but they weren't allowed to touch me. Mom couldn't even pat my head anymore, but she didn't seem to mind. The head said it was an important rule to uphold. I was at high risk of being tainted by the ugly masses. I didn't argue. He was the leader of this town. He always brought us miraculous medicines and food from seemingly nowhere. So, naturally, he was always right. I missed Mom's touch, though. It was something I treasured. She rarely did it, and now she couldn't do it at all. At least I was loved. My 8th year, my parents died from heart failure, or so I was told. I couldn't remember seeing them actually die. For a week I assumed they'd come back eventually, but they never did. Yaya would pat my head as I sobbed, telling me everything was going to be okay, that the group will take even better care of me than before. Clergy pitied me for months, and at least once a day, someone gave me a little extra off their plates. It was a generous gesture. We don't get much for our meals. The villagers left me flowers they picked. Every morning I woke up to more flowers than usual piled near my platform. But it still hurt. My room felt so empty without Mom's dresses or Dad's shoes messily thrown on the floor. I even missed the alcohol they had gifted them that they hid under the bed. I refused to come downstairs for anything other than visions. Instead, I cried and cried and cried. My ribs could be seen if you looked under my shirt. When everyone forgot my parents' deaths, it suddenly seemed like a lot less people were coming. Normally, I felt like a little ant sitting among groups of people. I didn't know if it was because I got bigger over the years or turnout actually changed, but staff would whisper to each other when people wouldn't come for days at a time. Only the elders and devout families made weekly visits. Nobody remembered it was my 9th year. I looked at kids wearing the school uniform with envy. The few children who still got dragged in to see my visions glared at me like I was the cause of all their suffering. I didn't understand. They were the ones who got to go outside. I wanted to go outside. I wanted to leave this place. I wanted to play with everyone. I wanted to go to school with everyone. I wanted to drink the water with everyone. I wanted to do this and that without any restrictions. They never, ever let me go outside. Not once. They forgot it was my 10th year. So I went outside late one night, cupping water from the river in my hands instead of taking it in my gilded ladle, like I was supposed to. I was never loved again. I woke up the next day feeling nauseous. Dreams about my past were frequent and tiring, but it was better than waking up and living in reality. If I had a choice, I'd never wake up from my dreams, no matter how repetitive they were. I put on my freshly cleaned uniform and left the room. The tiny hallway outside my room wasn't too busy that day. It was so narrow, even two people could barely squeeze through side by side. I headed down the only stairs to the first floor and entered the hallway surrounding the main room. From one of the 3 doors into the main room, I could hear the head delivering a morning sermon. I didn't want to disturb him out of fear of any repercussions, so I waited patiently for him to finish.
Mercy, good morning.
I turned around. Delilah stood there in her school uniform. I smiled a tiny bit, blushing.
Are you...
Oh, is that... No, I think that's us asking
Okay.
Delilah. Are you coming to school today?
Yes. I'll be here tomorrow as well. Lately, they've told me I'm doing so well, they don't know what to teach me until my 16th year. So I'll be coming to school a lot more often until then. Are you waiting for the head to finish?
I nodded nervously. The only exit is in the main room, and the doors are kind of squeaky, so...
Don't worry. Follow close behind me and you'll be fine.
I did as Delilah said, and made sure to keep myself hidden when we walked in. The few elderly people sitting in the front pews glanced at her, then returned their attention to the head's sermon. He stood atop the stage in front of the pews, standing behind a pulpit with a copy of the scripture open before him. I didn't see Ye around, which must mean she was having trouble rising again. I hope she was all right. Do you want to be the head?
Sure. I am the ordained minister here.
You are the ordained minister. That was auto. No. It only auto forwards on a page. If it'll still like force us to click forward after the page is finished. So
okay.
we won't miss anything if it does that.
Okay. So it looks like we went back a page.
Oh, we did go back a page.
Is the return... Oh. And so a lot said to the troubled man, "Keep your head high, sir. This situation is not hopeless. Should one be confronted with a demon, you must first not give him as he desires. Next, you must protect yourself with the barrier, invoking its name while lighting a bundle of field grass. And finally, you shall trick him into drinking so much water his belly becomes distended, and he shall never bother you again." That concludes this morning's sermon. Bendeth, my friends, bendeth.
The visitors bowed, rose from their seats, and left the building quietly. Wait, was that bendeth like a command or a name?
I think it's supposed to be like amen.
Okay, got it. The head, my really milquetoast white suburban, what was it? Oh, we were really middle of the road, religion-wise when I grew up. Can't even remember. It's, the name of it's going to be on the tip of my tongue. Our denomination.
Were you...
Methodist, there it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So, really kind of, on the scale of things, pretty damn chill.
I see.
Yeah. The visitors bowed, rose from their seats, and left the building quietly. The head walked down from the stage, picking up the cane leaning against the pulpit. He approached us slowly, shaking it a little with each step. I always liked the sound of his cane hitting the floor.
Good morning, you two. Good morning, holy head.
Delilah gave him a deep bow.
Please, Delilah, you have already become such an incredible heir. There's no need to bow so deeply when you're just starting to surpass your father in skill. Was turnout low again today? Yes, it seems the clergy's concerns have even reached you. I hope this drought of faith ends soon. I worry for the future of the children. Mercy.
Yeah, that's me. I stood to attention, snapping out of my thoughts quickly. Yes?
You were late for dinner last night. I'm very disappointed in you. You've been doing this a lot lately. Perhaps you should go without food today to know what it's like to live in a world where you don't have people who give it to you so generously.
I gulped.
That shouldn't be necessary. It's not her fault. Much of her lateness is due to rituals, which is something she has to do. Is it not good that she's doing as she's told? Delilah, you know it's a waste when we have to throw out our food. However, I suppose you're right. Mercy, you've been excused this time. You two eat your breakfast and head to school. It's almost time for the morning drink. Yes, sir.
Okay. I didn't know what made me so worthy of Delilah's protection, but she defended me anyways. She was the only one out of all the other kids that actually cared about my well-being. But I was sure she'd get sick of protecting me eventually. I must be irritating to deal with. Delilah's fans crowded around her and kept asking her what she did while she was away. She gave them the same blank expression, the same response, but girls would sigh anyways. It was always just reciting prayer and rituals in the courtyard. She perfected them all only a month after learning them, just like how everything else she did was perfect. I didn't really blame those girls for sighing. During that day's reading, once again, she spoke with a perfect cadence and flipped through the worn pages of her textbook gently. Her words had a nice flow to them that not many could achieve. The god of the two... wait, no, that's you. Sorry.
The god of the two halves descended upon the raised earth. From a single twin-headed seed came the first two families. From the same budding plant, the 100-year stalk connecting them became the head. For 100 years and several short-lived generations, they fought for dominance. But it was our head that stopped them, uniting them, and forming our beloved town.
You notice how the cross is upside down?
Yeah? I guess they love the cross of St. Peter, huh?
Yeah. So is our mouse.
Yeah?
I don't know if it's showing up... Hold on, let me see if it's showing up the recording. I don't believe it is, but our cross is currently... the cross of St. Peter's when it's upside down?
Yeah.
Yep, with a little pointy bit at the end, so you know where you're pointing.
And so are the ties in the uniform.
The ties of the... Oh, I didn't even notice that! Oh, that's really good thematic design. 10 out of 10. The sun filtered through the half-shut curtains nicely. Since Delilah sat close to the windows, it shined on her like a spotlight. Even from where I sat, I could see how soft her hair was.
His dutifulness did not go unnoticed. God came again, its trial proving how the world should work. 2 sides and 1 neutral party to bring them together. To reward them all for succeeding without killing off the other's lineage, God granted them sustenance and roofing, and the holy river which provides us with our water.
We listened to this story at least once a month, so we didn't forget where we came from and who we should always appreciate. Usually in our class, Delilah read it like always, but sometimes they let an acolyte in training do it. Had to do with something about how their words bind it tightly with holy care. Never quite understood it. I didn't feel any different. Maybe it was the curse. Delilah softly inhaled whenever she needed air, never taking too long nor making it so short she'd become breathless later on.
But God gave the head a special task. Recognizing him as an efficient moderator, it gave him permanent immortality. Then God delivered to him the Holy Woman, the Divine Woman, the woman who speaks the word of God, and tasked him with her safekeeping and purity. With the Holy Woman, the head populated the town, and their work became the fada of today.
Good golly. The class clapped.
Woo!
Thank you for that. You know what? Here, let's do some... That's some Foley work. Right? That's the quality Foley work you can expect here at 80% relief. Remember that one time we toyed with having an actual Foley setup? We should do that someday. Delilah bowed and took her seat. Some girls sitting next to me sighed, the same ones who approached her this morning. I played with my pencil and stared at my empty desk. The teacher noticed right away and frowned.
Mercy, where are your notes? Who's talking?
I believe this is our resident bully here.
We had to get rid of them. Who is we?
Oh, that's Faust. Before I could answer, Faust raised his hand, sat far, far away in the back of the class, right next to the door so he could leave quickly. Oh, teacher, you think she's having another one of those hallucinations? His friends laughed. Maybe she has an evil imaginary friend who makes her do bad things. Oh, wait, this is the class then.
Yeah, so she's a punishment, right?
Punishment!
Yay! Faust and his rowdy crew chanted and laughed, pounding on their desks to the timing of every syllable.
All of you be quiet.
Delilah glared at them. They immediately shut up, Faust grimacing and growling. Stupid church hound. She looked back at Clara, who sat directly behind her, and Clara cowered.
Clara, do you know anything about it? Yesterday, me and my friends noticed she was seeing things, and we saw these splotches she drew in her books, so we decided to throw them out in the compactor. I see. There's your answer, ma'am.
The teacher nodded and looked directly at me.
Naturally, we cannot let what happened transpire without some sort of ritual. Delilah, I'll leave you to do it after class. Yes, ma'am.
Shit, now we gotta go down to ritual division. Everyone check your service weapon. I just played Control for the first time and it was very good. I liked it very much. And then class continued without any further interruptions. I barely paid attention the entire time. Even though I had nothing to worry about since Delilah always kept her punishments mild, I still had a broken heart to repress. Delilah was so cool, Delilah was so pretty, and yet I would never get to speak to her like the other girls did. The final bell rang abruptly and pulled me out of my thoughts. Voss leaned his hand against my desk after class ended, his arms crossed. You look so depressed all the time. Have you tried being happier? Don't you ever get tired of it? Why are you here? I'm going to help, obviously. Clara came up with the punishment idea. It'll be fun! For me, anyways. Uh-huh. Oh, don't give me that face, Mercy. You sure are cute when you take the bare minimum effort to look mad.
Faust, stop messing with her and get over here if you're going to help.
Whatever. Delilah, Clara and her friends, and Faust and his friends, all huddled together as Delilah explained to them what they were going to do. Their voices were low, but I could hear something about a bath. A minute later, the group broke up and approached me.
Mercy, come with us. We'll be going to the sink outside.
Okay. I followed the group downstairs, keeping my distance like usual. The children grades 1 through 6 got to play outside during lunch, so the communal sink was for washing themselves off when lunch ended. Of course, nobody was washing anything after school. It was a large 2-inch deep basin attached to the outside wall.
We'll be using a water-based ritual to counteract the curse. You remember it from last month, yes, Mercy?
I nodded quietly. Clara recommended it that time, too. I bent over the basin, my head hanging over the drain. It was one of the most aggressive, expulsive rituals Delilah utilized when punishing me. Even though expulsive energy was represented by the color red, it had so many water-based rituals, and the same went for barrier, which was blue with fire-based rituals. Fire scattered away enemies, and water purified them. That was the logic behind the scripture. Someone turned on all 4 of the faucets. I shut my eyes tight and held my breath once the basin reached full capacity. I felt the surface of the water lightly brush against the tip of my nose. As soon as I did, someone shoved my head into the water rather forcefully. I recognized their strength. How could I not when it was the same one who always beats me? Having fun, Mercy. Faust pulled my head out of the water so I could get air, or perhaps just to say something cruel to me. I faintly heard Delilah reciting some sort of prayer.
O Divine One, expel from her this curse.
My head went right back into the basin. My nostrils filled up with so much water, the back of my throat burned. Every time I thought my lungs would burst, I'd be pulled back up at just the right time to get some air. I was convinced that after 5 years of tormenting me, Faust had memorized even my breathing patterns. Come on, squirm a little, why don't you? Make it look like it's actually working. No mercy for mercy. Before I could completely catch my breath, my face went back into the water. I ended up inhaling some as a result and kicked my legs in shock. Faust wouldn't pull my head back up. His laughing was muffled by the water in my ears. He pressed me down harder, my neck squeezing against the edge of the basin. The water turned red. At first I thought it was because he caused me to bleed, but when a beetle swam around the bottom of the basin, I knew what had happened. The ritual wasn't working. This was bad. I'd have to endure more punishment. I'm lightheaded. I think this is Delilah.
Faust.
Just then, Faust's hand flew off my head. Someone lifted me up out of the water, holding me in their arms. It was Delilah.
What is wrong with you?
Several things, it turns out.
You don't need to do it so harshly. The point is not to kill.
Get it, I get it. You didn't have to hit me so hard, bitch. A little warning would have been nice.
Get out of my sight. I'll be telling your parents about what you did.
Faust immediately shut up. One of his friends made a low ooh, and Faust's other friend elbowed him.
Don't do that, man. You know what his parents are like.
Sorry. Whatever, let's get out of here. With that, Faust left. I started coughing violently, some water rising up out of my throat.
Mercy, are you all right?
Ew.
Oh no.
Sorry.
Oh no.
I saw the opportunity and
Yeah.
you can't blame me for that. I tried to respond, but I only ended up coughing more. Delilah took that as a sign I wasn't fine and stood up. She pulled me up with her and let me lean against her for support as I continued to cough.
Let's go home. Good work, you three. Thank you for your help.
Clara and her friends waved.
Goodbye, Miss Delilah.
I can't quite get what. So, like, Clara and her crew are bullying us. Faust and their crew are bullying us. Delilah's nice to us, but she's also nice to those groups, and but doesn't do anything about them bullying us.
We'll see.
It doesn't make sense. She cheerily addressed Delilah while pretending I wasn't even there. The two of us began to make our way up the hill. People gave us strange looks, but Delilah looked on unflinchingly. As soon as I felt good enough to walk, I stopped leaning on her and we walked side by side.
You've got a little mud on you.
I looked down. Just as she said, there was some mud on my clothes. My shoulders drooped.
I'll tell you, yeah. She's barrier today, so she'll do something nice for you.
I perked up just a tiny bit, trying not to show it on my face. Okay. Only the group and anyone who lived under their care knew the truth about Yaya. Yaya?
I don't know.
Yaya? Holy women were supposed to change their affinity depending on what God's will may be, but Yaya was defective. She would rise as one energy and stay like that the whole day, never changing until she returned to her nightly slumber. I had suspected maybe because of her eye injury, which she received before I was born. We entered the church. Yaya was inside, guiding some new acolytes on how to bless the drinking ladles. She glanced up and smiled at us, then dismissed the acolytes. Her robe's length made it appear as if she was gliding across the carpet to us.
Hello, Delilah. Mercy. Welcome back home.
She smiled gently and bowed her head slightly as she spoke.
Holy yeah. However you say it. Good afternoon anyway.
No, it's all right. I've been doing that. It's got a whole lot of vowels there. Hi. Yaya's gaze traveled down to my clothes, and she gazed and gasped in surprise. I know how to read. I swear I do.
Mercy, what happened? We were doing an expulsive ritual, but Faust took it too far and got her all dirty. That poor, misguided boy. We keep telling his parents to rein him in, but they seem to be having a hard time no matter what they do. They've told me they're quite embarrassed, considering their family has always been loyal to the group. He's quite the outlier, isn't he?
It's so hard to get a read on me. Heavy footsteps marked the entrance of the head. He rarely left his office those days, wanting to eat and deliver sermons, so I was surprised to see him come out.
He spent the rest of his time gazing at that portrait in the background for some reason.
Oh my god. I know I mentioned it obliquely, but we're doing this? We're really doing this.
Good afternoon, holy head.
Delilah gave him a shorter bow compared to her morning one.
Greetings, Delilah. Please stay here with me for a minute. Counting the seconds starting now. 60, 59, 58. I got bored already.
Did you want me to do something with you, or are you just... Okay, you're just gonna sit... You literally... Okay.
I want to speak with you about your performance lately. I've been thinking about letting you skip straight to your 16th year studies, but we'll need to discuss it in depth. Yes, sir. My head. Oh, sorry, that's...
Is this Yaya? I think it is, because she just appeared on screen, and that's usually how it works.
Yeah. My head. Look at Mercy. She's filthy. I heard. Yeah, you may feel free to prepare a bath. I won't be having Mercy drink the water and eat dinner looking like that. I was hoping you'd let me. Come on, Mercy, let's go take a bath.
The corners of my lips tugged up ever so slightly. Followed behind Yaya as she walked past the exit. Oh, I followed behind Yaya as she walked past the exit to the courtyard and up the stairs. We reached the small, narrow hallway upstairs. Some acolytes were running around carrying things to and from places, forcing Yaya and I to squeeze against the wall. It was suffocating. Suffocating, just like...
Don't be mad at that boy, Mercy. I know you want to be.
As always, Yaya seemed to read my mind. I didn't even realize my fist was clenched until she spoke.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
Yes, ma'am. If I kept being nice, then surely they'd start being nice to me too. Just like that old lady or Delilah. Then they'd leave me alone. Yeah, that's how that works. Yeah, that's why people tell each other to follow that. Yeah, because, yeah. Yep. Thing is, that only works if everyone's kind of doing it, and if they're not, then... Well... Yaya opened a door and let me in first. Inside was a small marble room with a built-in bath in the middle of it. A tiny hole on the ceiling was right above it. The floor was 1 inch lower than the edge of the door. I stared at my feet and carefully entered. I'd fallen one too many times entering this room without looking, so now I'd enter as slowly as possible. Yaya shut the door behind us and helped me undress. She hung my dirty clothes on a small hook on the back of the door. When she pulled the cord, warm water spilled from the hole and filled the depression. It made a big splash when it hit the marble. I flinched when the cold droplets touched my bare skin.
Sit, Mercy.
I obeyed. The water slowly filled the bath, already covering my feet. The warmth relaxed my muscles. I felt all my stress wash away. Once the bath was filled, Yaya pulled the cord again and grabbed a glass bottle filled with shampoo. The shampoo made by female acolytes specifically for Yaya, but she would use it on me anyways. Sometimes I worried I'd get in trouble for it somehow, but she would dismiss me when I asked her to stop. Yaya poured water on my hair and began to work the shampoo into a lather on my scalp. She started to hum a familiar tune, and I closed my eyes and listened. I don't know this.
Neither do I. Is this an actual song?
Hold on, we're gonna look this up real quick. Do you want me to sing it while you're looking? I'll read the lyrics. I'm not gonna try to sing it. Dun po sa amin, bayan ng san rok. May nagatuan apat na pulubi. Nagsaya ang pile, umuwit ang pipi. Nanud ang bulag, nangkinig ang bingi.
Looks like it's a Filipino children's song.
A Filipino children's song. Okay, there you have it. Does it have a title? Or is it just like a folk tune without a...
I don't know. And presumably it does. I do not know
All right.
the language, so
I didn't know what
limited information I can give you.
That's fair. I didn't know what she was saying, but I loved it. She would always sing it when she would give me a bath. Before the curse fell upon me, she would even sing it to me when I couldn't sleep. Way back when I didn't have a mom to sing lullabies to me anymore. It was a goofy-sounding song, though. It only calmed me because of how low and sweet her voice was. Yaya's fingers scratched my scalp, getting every last bit of dirt out. Yaya's figure was reflected in the water along with me. A minute later, floating soap suds obscured us. I saw my face in the countless reflections in the bubbles. Some dirt washed off me and made the water a little murkier. I stared at the natural patterns in the marble. The marble would make the room slippery when it was wet, but it was really pretty regardless. I almost wanted to sleep. Oh, this is a different verse. Okay. Yaya finished her song just as she finished cleaning me. She pulled the plug in the bathtub and then pulled the cord and instructed me to get under the water. All the soap washed off of me and went down the drain along with the dark muck. Yaya handed me a soft towel.
I will go get you your nightgown and your ladle of evening water, little one. Please wait here and dry off while I get them.
She left and closed the door behind herself. I pat my skin dry and sat in the bathtub, resting against the edge. The towel acted as a blanket, and I felt myself drift off. Well, alright then. What are you doing? Huh? I looked up at the girl who had approached me. Most kids were playing out in the fields or in town, but for some reason this girl was spending her time in the church. When I looked closer, I noticed she had white blotches on her face. Oh, this will be Delilah. I thought it was cool. I'm waiting.
Wait, who is talking where?
I think this is us saying we're waiting.
Okay.
Waiting for what? Now that I thought about it, I didn't really know what to call the people who came to me for visions. As any other 6-year-old child would, I came up with a name on the spot. Vision likers.
What are vision likers?
People who like visions. I give out the visions sometimes. People like to hear them. She perked up.
Oh, I think I know you. Isn't your name Mercy? What do you see?
I'd never seen her around. There was no way she didn't know. When people found out what I could do, everyone except the sick came to visit me. So clearly she must have been sick and nobody told her. I see lots of things. Like pretty butterflies. Yaya translates the visions for me.
The Holy Woman?
Yeah, she likes me a lot.
Wow, that's so poggers.
Why would you do this? Who are you?
Huh, me? My name's Delilah. I'm training. Want to see my training stick?
I had no idea how to respond to that because I didn't know what the word training meant. She bounced up and down excitedly, anticipating my answer. Training? She patted her hands on the platform happily and pulled out a miniature ceremonial staff out of her canvas bag. I guess she didn't care whether I said yes or no.
I'm gonna be a cool priesty lady. I'm the heir of the family, which means I'm at the top. This is my magic stick.
This is my magic stick. What family? She gave me a giant grin. It was so wide I worried she'd split her face in two. Don't know anyone like that.
The explosion clergy.
Sorry, I'm just imagining her as like a tiny Megumine now.
I'm gonna be a hero.
Are you?
Yes, I'm gonna be an adventurer.
But you can only do
my explosion magic.
Which you can only use once a day. Just then, Yaya ushered her away to a man and woman dressed in robes with red accents. The man's skin and hair looked a lot like hers, but the woman had her soft hair and face. I looked at her in awe as she left.
Aww.
Aww. That was the first and only time I'd ever seen Delilah so excited. Damn. When the curse came upon me, I almost screamed. I woke up seeing nothing but beetles crawling all over the wall and leafless trees growing from the window pane. Everything was blurry and murky, almost inky at some points. They looked like the pictures I'd draw, but I stayed quiet. I feared what would happen if I told anyone, and instead pretended it was business as usual. For a while, it worked. I only had to replace the beetles with butterflies. They're both insects, and they can both fly, so nobody suspected anything, but I think the head could tell something was wrong with me. He pulled me aside into his office later that day and asked me if I was all right. He asked me again, then asked something strange.
Did you go out last night?
I didn't reply, but the answer was written all over my face. I broke out in a cold sweat. Yes.
What did you do?
His voice sounded quiet, yet serious. A father preparing to chide his daughter. That was what it reminded me of. I went to the river. He gestured for me to continue a little hastily. I drank from it. It tasted weird and I felt bad. And then I went right home. In a moment I would never forget, his eyes turned stone cold. No, rather behind that frigidness was fear.
Damn it.
The head reacted in a way I didn't expect him to. He pulled at his hair as he yelled,
Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. You've done it now. You really have. Naomi!
He stormed out of the room, leaving me all alone. confused. He didn't come back for an hour, and it was getting late, so I left for my own room. And an hour after that, 3 acolytes rushed into my room.
There you are.
The head asked us to retrieve you. Come outside, hurry! Outside? Wanted me to come outside. I was confused, but I followed them regardless without asking any questions. It was late at night. The moonlight lit the town with its glow. In the distance, I could see people crowded around the river, near a reversed cross. They all held some kind of pole. The closer we came, the better I could see, and in that moment I realized those poles were sharpened. They're the torture tools we use for the heretics, as told in the scripture. When the acolytes and I made it to the river, I gasped at what I saw. A woman, barely recognized in the darkness, hung from that cross. I couldn't see her expression, but she was silent. I sensed a strong will from her. That was definitely the woman that was with Delilah, her mother. The head stood near the cross, yelling at the crowd, whipping everyone into a frenzy.
You're the wife of a clergyman, and yet you have betrayed this town. You have betrayed your own people. You tried to escape from your duty, and for your crimes we will make punishment swift.
His teeth shined white as the moon. Spit flew from his mouth. He was angry. Really, truly angry. People waved their poles around and yelled incomprehensible curses at her. There were even children standing around and brandishing the weapons.
Do you have any last words before your punishment begins, heretic? Perhaps an apology will earn you a kinder spot in hell.
The woman struggled to inhale, then spoke as firmly as she could. The only person I will ever apologize to is my daughter for failing her. Where is my child?
You little. Die.
The poles gouged into her limbs, her hips, her torso, her face. Not once did she scream. Blood poured from her body, spilling onto the ground, soaking into the soil. The poles soon became covered in her blood. I watched from afar, never shutting my eyes. Soon her arms popped out of their sockets with a sickening sound, appearing to grow significantly in length. She let out her last sigh and stopped moving. The town unceremoniously dumped her body in the river, along with the poles. She floated down, down, down. The river went far, way beyond the town. All we knew was that it was holy. Nobody knew where it ended because nobody was allowed to leave. And if you tried to leave... Well then.
I'm beginning to think that everything might not be quite right in this town.
Really? What tipped you off? You're only just now coming to this conclusion, huh? No, just now, after like maybe an hour? Really? Okay. No, just a bold decision. I sat at the first row of pews, bored. I woke up too early because of the nap I had last night, but I didn't miss dinner again, so I was able to save myself from losing any meals. Only 2 neophytes were in the main room with me, minding their own business and cleaning the stained glass.
Get those stains off there.
No matter how hard I wipe it, it's still stained! I don't know why that's hitting me as hard as it is, but that's actually very funny.
Good morning, Mercy. You're up early today.
Delilah came in and approached me when she saw me. She had her school uniform on again, which was a relief.
Did you have trouble sleeping last night?
I shook my head.
I see. I'm glad.
Delilah sat down next to me and flattened the folds in her skirt. We stared at the acolytes doing their work. Upon closer inspection, I realized they were the same 2 Yaya was instructing yesterday.
The head is insisting I skip to the next level of my studies, even though he said I've surpassed my father. I think he's desperately trying to impress the town with any method he can think of.
I nodded, unsure of what to say. Delilah had always been on top of the group's internal politics, more than I could have ever hoped to be.
Mercy, you're smiling.
I quickly stopped smiling.
That doesn't mean you have to stop smiling, Mercy. What are you thinking about?
You care about the town a whole lot.
Do you think so? Well, it's the only place I know, so I don't see a reason why I shouldn't.
I twiddled my thumbs and mumbled to myself. I wish I had that sort of kindness. It's nothing. I stared up at the ceiling. Delilah was cool and Delilah was pretty, but most of all, she was incredibly kind. All I ever thought about was hiding or running away. But Delilah was so much stronger than me. I took this as a rare chance to talk to her normally, like all the other girls did. Hey.
Yes?
Have you ever thought about walking down that path out of the town? The acolytes abruptly stopped cleaning. Delilah and I went silent.
Don't you two have a job to be doing?
The two quickly went back to work, whispering to one another. I hung my head low and dropped the subject. Never mind.
I should probably get going. You should too. The flock will be coming in for the morning sermon any time soon.
Okay.
I'll also be a little late today, so see you at school.
I must have scared her. Today was uneventful. I didn't see anything, so there were no punishments. In a rare move, Clara sat next to me with her friends during lunch.
Hey, Mercy.
I glanced at her, then glanced at Delilah. She sat in her seat, reading her textbook like always. I was prepared to whine if Clara tried to do anything out of line, but that had a low chance of happening. After all, if Delilah was here, then Clara would be a good girl.
Hey, Mercy, answer me.
Clara's voice was low and dangerous. What?
Why are you acting all buddy-buddy with Delilah, huh?
What?
You heard me. Pretending to drown just to get her attention? You're the lowest of the low. You're a real scumbag. You know she's too nice to you, so you took advantage of that.
I wasn't pretending.
Yeah, right. It's too bad you don't have any more books for me to compact, or I'd get rid of some more curses for you.
Just the thought of, like, ugh, it's too bad you don't have any more shit for me to compact for. Yeah. Like, here, you know what? Just give me your backpack. I'll compact that.
You know
that'll
what?
have to. You know what? How about your desk? Can we compact that?
You know what? Here's $20. Go to the bookstore, buy some books, come back here. I'll compact them for you.
I know it's not the point, but it's endlessly amusing to me. I clenched my fists. What was she trying to say about me?
Oh, you look angry. It's been a while since you've looked at me with such contempt. Should you even be allowed to feel that towards me? You're no saint, Mercy. I know you.
My heart sunk, my stomach churning. The anger in me left, quickly changing into guilt. With that, they stood up and took their bags with them.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So do the very least and stay away from Delilah. Though if you really want my forgiveness, you could try killing yourself. It would make everyone's lives easier if we didn't have to deal with you.
I gripped the edges of my desk. Faust whistled. His legs were propped up onto his desk, a single bag of peanuts in his lap. Wow, that was harsh. He waved his hand in the air like he wanted to answer a teacher's question. Mrs. Holy Delilah, Clara said a mean thing.
Oh, shut up. She doesn't care.
That look of expression when you done fucked up.
Clara, Mercy hasn't done anything today. Please come here and speak with me instead. I'd be much happier if you did. Yes, Miss Delilah.
Clara seemed genuinely hurt. She and her friends took their seats, and I felt a small amount of satisfaction in her little defeat. After school, something mildly irritating happened. Children from the 3rd grade class crowded around me and began throwing rocks at my ankles. I describe that as more than mildly irritating.
No mercy for mercy.
No mercy for mercy. Yeah.
Could only guess they picked up that chant from Faust and his delinquent friends. It stung a little at first, but as they continued, it soon became dull and predictable. I refused to give them the satisfaction of seeing me upset. Kids who messed with me usually got bored when I did that, but these children were particularly persistent. Hey! When I reached the river, the old woman who always sits on her porch yelled at the kids. They scattered and ran off, giggling about the fact that they got in trouble. She gave me a little wink, and I returned her kindness with a small smile and a tiny bow. I took one step and... Faust, get back here! Faust, listen to your father, now! No! Shut the hell up and leave me alone! The door to one of the homes burst open. I immediately recognized... Maybe I gave him too much credit by giving him the voice. He was still in his school uniform. I kind of guessed from his, posture that he was like, I'm too good for you. Right? I took a stab in the dark with that one, and it might not be paying off here. Did he just get home? Behind him stood a tall man and a stout woman. They both looked a lot like him, and they were fuming with anger. Faust, we need to talk. Get over here now, or you won't like what I'll do. No! What are you, 5? You caused another disruption during class today, and we've had enough. I'm going to talk to Hector and Sammy. You guys can go die. That was a breaking point for his father. He approached Faust, raised his fist in the air. Faust didn't have enough time to defend himself and fell to the ground, his cheek red. His mother glared at him with contempt. Not a hint of worry could be seen in her features. You will never speak to us like that. Ever. Get inside. Faust, defeated, raised his head off the ground, dirt smeared all over his cheek. When he looked up, he saw me. He gave me a dark glare. I stepped back reflexively. Faust stood with a huff and entered his home, and his mother shut the door behind them with a loud bang. I stared at their door for what seemed like forever. His parents really were strict. They reminded me of my own, just a little. For once in 5 years I've known him, I felt a tinge of sympathy, but no more than that. Mercy, I froze. It was Yaya's voice, and it was cold.
How long have you been standing there? Any longer and dinner will be cold.
Dinner won't be ready until after we drink from the river. You always think it's dinner at the wrong time when you get like this. And that's what I wanted to point out. But I nodded, gulping down my back talk. Standing behind her was an acolyte, likely an escort. She handed me a ladle, knowing I should drink first before I inevitably become trapped in the church. Yaya was a little stranger when she was expulsive. So the group was slightly more forgiving toward me, but only to hide her defects. Never for my sake. I got my water, and then we left. Yaya and the head and I sat at the small dining table. Everyone who lives at the church had to eat in rounds because it was so small. An acolyte placed our meals on the front of us. That night, it was rice and beans. We all clasped our hands in prayer. The head spoke with great respect, hands clasped together tightly to the point that they shook.
O divine Lord, thank you for the meal you have provided for us today. We would not be able to live without your holy sustenance, and for that we thank you by always following your grand guidance. Bendith.
bendeth. We picked up our spoons and began. As I ate, sometimes my food would spill from my mouth. The bland sauce from the beans trickled out between my trembling lips, and Yaya watched me like a hawk. My spoon clinked against the plate.
Mercy, stop that.
I didn't look up at Yaya. I didn't even try clarifying what that was, and ate slower, thinking that was the cause. The spoon hit the plate again.
I said stop that.
My hand shook. Nobody moved.
Stop what, yeah? I cannot see what the problem is.
The head gave her a stern glance.
That cling-cling noise, it's giving me a headache.
She pointed her finger at me, eyes unblinking. The acolyte standing watch near the door started to mumble and whisper, giving me concerned glances.
But, yeah, I am eating the same way. I know, but when she does it, it feels louder. Mercy?
I didn't reply. A beetle crawled under my wriggling rice as my sauce bubbled. Shaking and shivering, I stared right at my spoon. When I looked up, Yaya's flesh had expanded significantly. A single ink tree grew from her eye patch. Oh! Tears formed in my eyes. Please, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Do whatever you want. I don't know what I did wrong, so please stop trying to touch me with your flesh. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. Yaya used her massive arms to shove my plate off the squirming table. It shattered on the floor, causing ink branches to grow where the food landed. Can't take this anymore. Oh, that's... Yaya?
Probably. I can't take this anymore. You're such a dumb child, Angelica. No more tea for tonight. Go to your room.
I didn't get to finish. She raised one arm in the air so high it hit the ceiling, making it burst open and splatter ink everywhere. That meant no more backtalk. I shuffled up and away as fast as I could, not wanting to get Yaya any angrier. Was I always doing something wrong? I just wanted to feel safe. The head told everyone what happened to me, and so the abuse began. I lost my status as someone to worship, and, as such, no longer had the privilege of staying home from school. The good thing was that I saw Delilah again after so long, but she looked tired. Exhausted. Horrified, even. For a month, nobody really knew what to do with me. They avoided me, sure, some even sneered at me. Those were the kids who hated getting dragged in to see me. Nobody really tried to approach me. At worst, people would deface my desk, and they did it often. Sometimes the head would hit me when I acted out, but in the privacy of the church. When I pointed out there was a beetle on the teacher in the middle of class, the lesson would pause for a minute so Delilah could say a prayer. That was all. I didn't quite mind the isolation, but I didn't like it either. I'd stare blankly out the window, doing catch-up as everyone else enjoyed their recess. One day, in the distance, I spotted a girl getting pushed around. I knew her. Her name was Clara. She would come into the church time and time again, trying and failing to take the acolyte acceptance test. She always fixed her previous mistake, but ended up making a different one. Eventually, she gave up. I never thought I'd see her again. The boy, who I later learned was Faust, tugged at her strangely long bangs. I cracked open the window so I could hear them. What's up with your bangs? Wait, what's a younger Faust? What's up with your bangs? Don't you ever cut them? She pouted.
I'm not cutting my bangs. Cutting them means I can't be an acolyte no more.
First of all, idiot, you've got no chance of being one. And second, stop talking like that. You sound stupid.
That's just how I talk, dummy. That's how Ma and Pa talk.
You're so weird. Is your whole family filled with stupid people? The boy tugged at her bangs again. You might as well just cut these, really. No chance for a dumb freak to become an acolyte. Every day they'd go through the same routine. At some point, Faust and his friends started to beat her. Initially, they merely shoved her on the ground, but it escalated into slaps and punches, and I would watch the beatings without telling anyone nor stepping in myself. I was so detached from this town and the people at the school that it was like a spectacle to me. I wanted to see how far they'd go, how badly they'd hurt her. I knew it was wrong. And yet I did nothing to change that. Clara noticed. After a particularly bad day, she got up off the ground and noticed me watching. Every day after that, she would check to see if I was watching. I made no effort to hide what I was doing. She gave me the same look every time, an expression that cried, "We're in the same boat, so please help me," over and over. I never gave her what she wanted. The bullying stopped the day Delilah stepped in. She stood in front of Clara protectively.
Cut that out. So what if she can't become an acolyte? That doesn't mean you need to hurt her.
Who are you to talk, church hound? Clara here, you see, she's...
Done nothing. Go away.
Shut up, you can't tell me what to do. Faust lunged at Delilah. She responded by slamming her palm into his chin. Faust bit his tongue and stumbled back, rubbing his chin. Whatever. His voice wobbled as if he were about to cry. Defeated, he left with his friends. Just you wait until my balls drop. I stared at her in awe, my mouth open. That was heroic. It was something a hero would do. Just like she said, Delilah became a hero. Delilah bent down.
Are you all right?
This is probably Clara.
Yeah. Just fine.
Clara sniffled and tried not to touch any of her bruises.
If it means anything, I like your bangs. Huh?
Delilah nodded.
It's a sign of your devotion.
From that day on, Clara followed Delilah around like a lost puppy. And that was when my own abuse truly began. Faust had nothing to do with his free time anymore. He tried to mess with other people, but they'd either give him an unsatisfying reaction or get violent. One day after a bad vision of mine, he snickered. He had an idea. After school, he approached me, dragging Delilah along. Clara followed, along with two of Delilah's fans who would later become Clara's friends.
Hey, Mercy.
I stopped and turned. Yeah? Wait, is this Faust? This is probably Faust, right?
Oh, probably.
We have to do some exploding.
It's expulsive.
Delilah wrestled her wrist out of Faust's grip.
And why did you drag me here?
Because you're the explode girl. Come on, make Mercy go boom. Delilah sighed and held out her hands. She recited a short prayer and walked away. Faust groaned. Oh, come on, I know there's cooler stuff than that.
Wait, Miss Delilah.
The one who spoke up was Clara. Her bullies conditioned the accent out of her.
Maybe she needs a harsher ritual. I don't feel safe leaving her with only a prayer anymore.
This is probably Delilah now.
I see. Let's see what we can do. I was thinking maybe we could try the one where we have to slap every point on her body.
Delilah seemed hesitant, but Faust was overjoyed. As him and his friends closed in on me, Clara stared at me the same way I stared at her. And she would continue to stare at me like that for as long as I knew her. What I did was bad, and my curse was my own fault. I brought this punishment upon myself. It was all my fault. I deserved it. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I woke up again and got dressed for school. When I passed by Bahia that day, her eyes were red for the second day in a row. I hurried past her and out the door, making my way to school without stopping, not even for a drink. I had a bad feeling. It didn't help that I woke up that morning tasting bugs on my tongue. Yuck. Ugh. Delilah was away to do her usual training. Stay quiet and don't move. I'll be fine. That was what I told myself the whole day. The din of the classroom didn't interest me as I packed my bag to leave. A hand slammed down on my desk. Shook my only pencil off the edge and onto the ground. I didn't even move to grab it, and Faust slammed his foot down on it anyways. Mercy, what's wrong? You're looking at my foot like you want it to move. His friend pointed his slender finger at my face. Oh no, could it be? She sees something on your foot! I don't see anything. The boy kicked my desk. Come on, of course you see something. If we caught you lying, you might have to tell the head boss. I'm assuming this is still the lackey here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what they do at the church to keep all that impurity in check, but it's making you clam up. It can't be good. Faust got close to my face. His breath smelled rancid. Come on, just let us take care of it. We'll be way gentler than they are, right, boys? They nodded. Their grins were so wide, their faces seemed to split in half. Great. Let's go. A kick in my ribs. A kick in my arms. A kick aiming directly for the shin. If they were feeling daring, they went for the face. But they knew if they killed me, they'd suffer a worse fate. Even if it was someone filthy, murder was unacceptable. The guilty must pay double for their sin. Well, that was how the law... okay. It's hard to tell sometimes when it's written this way, okay?
Yeah.
It's undoubtedly effective, it's just hard when you're trying to do the voices. It all ended in crucifixion and torture for those who dared to violate the rules of this town. No mercy for mercy. No mercy for... Oh, yeah.
No mercy for mercy.
No mercy for mercy. Stay down, you bitch. A foot pushing against my spine slammed me into the ground. The impact left me winded. I felt things crawling on me. A flower beside me whispered, no mercy for mercy, and stung me as my cheek brushed against it. Rain from last night made the ground all muddy and wet. Faust laughed and spoke, but his lips didn't match what he was saying. Mercy gets no mercy. A kick in my jaw. Something white fell out of my mouth. Blood filled my mouth and spilled over my bottom lip. It stopped earlier than usual. This is getting boring. We do this every week. Do we have anything else? Like weapons?
Oh, hey, I got it. My dad has some of those things they use. The ones from 5 years ago.
The mud beneath my fingernails hardened. Little black bugs crawled out the cracking mud, pouring out my fingers. They crawled all over my hands and melted into the ground. Faust laughed knowingly. Oh, I remember that. My mom had a blast, that's for sure. Did you bring any?
No, but...
Come on, town's small enough. Go grab some.
That's right, you're just being lazy.
The little black bugs crawled into my mouth. They taste like dirt.
Fine, whatever, I'll go get 'em. You owe me.
A kick in the leg. He walked away. To occupy their time, they sat down on me. Mercy, it's your civil duty to be our bench right now. You're doing great. Always do your duties. Always. I couldn't reply. There were too many bugs in my mouth. This didn't satisfy Faust. Pulling my head back by my ponytail, he hooked me right in the eyes. He didn't have a mouth. He gasped. You have to do your duty, Mercy. I saw you struggle. You're not supposed to struggle. It's your job. You have to take the beatings, Mercy, or you'll never get better. You won't be good at anything. As if to emphasize his point, he tugged my hair harshly and let go. My head fell back into the mud with a slop. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So maybe if you're nice enough to me, I'll leave you alone, right?
She doesn't reply to anything when she's tripping like that. It pisses me off.
Oh, whatever.
Me too. Just talk. It's not that hard. What's wrong with her?
Nothing, that's what. She thinks she's got it so bad. The boy sitting next to Faust shifted his weight, putting more pressure on my back. A small amount of air traveled out of my lungs and through my closed throat, creating a squeak. He laughed. The sound of metal hitting metal alerted the boys. They got off me. I caught my breath.
Guys, I got the stuff.
Sweet. What's all here? Wow, it's definitely them. Your dad keeps this kind of crap?
Yep, same ones I used when they tried that clergy chick.
The exact same ones.
Obviously not, idiot. You gotta get rid of dirty sin stuff in the river.
Oh, yeah. In that moment, I realized what was going to happen to me. A pole dug into my calf and wedged itself inside my muscle as I tried to crawl away. It didn't reach bone, but it was enough to stop me in my already weakened state. The offender made himself known with a dry laugh. Now, Mercy. What did I tell you about struggling? He wiggled the pole around in my leg, making the wound wider. This is your duty, an obligation given to you by the group, something we've all been burdened with. Yours is real important. Faust pulled out the pole, the wound now exposed to open air stung. It was as if a void had opened in my leg. For a few minutes, the only sound was the wind picking up. The boy with the bony finger spoke up.
Hey, this is actually kind of gross.
What are you, a chicken shit? Can you only handle it when someone else is doing the prodding?
Actually, I didn't watch it. I just heard it.
Come on, it's refreshing. Watch. Faust grabbed the boy's wrist and forced him to stab me. It was a lot shallower than the last jab, but it hurt all the same. He pulled it out himself and started to breathe heavily. Yeah. This is kind of fun. You try it too, Hector. Alright, I'll go for her butt. Funny, right? Grow up, man. He thrust the pole. Hard. A shooting pain traveled from the left side of my rear all across my body. My spine popped when I jerked upwards, screaming. When he pulled it out, the strange sensation of my tendons moving back into place caused me to dry heave. Another attack went into my arm. It had to be the bony one. He wasn't strong enough to pierce anything easily. So long as the strong one didn't touch my torso, I'd be fine. Surely, I'd be fine. It hurts! It hurts! One dove into my arm. I tried to crawl away again. Faust grabbed my ponytail and straddled my back. It felt like he'd rip off my scalp at any moment. Mercy, you just never learn your lesson, do you? I'm not going to be fine. I'm not going to be fine. For the first time in years, I felt something intensely. It was fear. Let me get at her stomach. Sorry, man, can't move her. She'll try to escape again. Fine. I'm going to die. Going to die. I thought they cared about the law to some extent, but I was wrong. 3 more injuries in my calves. They were easy targets. Beetles buzzed around me as my vision started to go dark. I didn't know what to think. For 5 years, nothing like this ever happened. Was I supposed to feel lucky? Doomed? It was inevitable. The abuse was going to escalate someday. They always needed better entertainment. Another 5 to my right leg. I made howling noises like an infant. Tears spilled down my cheeks and soaked into the mud. I felt blood flowing out of me onto the ground, getting all over me, all over my clothing. Faust tore out some of my hair. Why? What did I do wrong? I didn't do anything that time. I didn't see anything. I wasn't being weird. I was quiet that day. Please stop is what I wanted to say, but nothing left my mouth except screams. Didn't know people could bleed so much. It's really red. Hey, what does this stuff do again? Beats me. It's fun to watch. See some pink stuff under her skin. Let's dig it out. No.
Children!
Yaya's voice. Scrambling of feet. Metal hitting the ground. Someone hooked their arms under me and lifted me up.
You shouldn't let them take advantage of you like that.
Oh, I shouldn't let them take advantage of me. You're right. Yeah, that was my fucking fault. Someone else's voice. Where had I heard that voice? Ah. It was you. You saved me again. Ooh. Hi, we're back.
We're back.
Sorry about the weird break if that was in the middle of an episode, but I needed a moment. I sat at the top of the stairs. My body was covered in the head's miracle pastes and bandages. Some acolytes changed out my school uniform for my nightgown. I needed a new uniform. On my way up, I exhausted quickly. My legs hurt too much for me to continue moving. Every step felt excruciatingly painful, as if the rods were still piercing me. Felt dirty. They only healed and cleaned the wounds. There was no bath for me. All the blood would have stained the color of the bathing room. A dried patch of mud remained on my right cheek. The hallway felt more suffocating than usual. It made me want to leave more than ever, but my legs wouldn't allow it. I played with the frayed edge of a bandage wrapped around my knee. A figure turned into the hallway. On seeing who it was, I immediately stood up with my back rigid. The sudden movement caused me to wince in pain and my legs to shake. Yaya approached me with a grimace. Holy women were meant to be eternally young until expiration, but she was frowning so hard as if there were wrinkles on her skin. I waited for a slap or screaming.
Why are you such a stupid girl?
Ah, yes. I don't know why I expected it to be anything different. I slowly opened my eyes. I didn't even notice they were closed.
Why are you such a stupid girl?
She asked the question in the exact same voice and intonation. It bothered me a little. I can't answer that.
Why are you such a stupid girl?
Unsatisfied with my answer, she asked again, slightly angrier.
Why are you such a stupid girl?
Huh?
Why are you such a stupid girl? Why? Why are you such a stupid girl?
She gripped my shoulders with unbelievable force, shaking me. She wasn't even letting me respond anymore.
Why? Are you such a stupid girl?
I don't know. I can't.
Stop that, Nina. You know exactly why. I told you again and again not to go out there and get us captured, but you went out there anyways, and now we've become monsters. How many times did I have to tell you we'd be worse off? I told you I saw their plans. I'm not stupid. Why are you such a stupid girl?
I shook, and for some reason she shook as well. This was not her normal expulsive self.
I don't understand. Why are you like this? What did I do to raise such a stupid kid?
I wriggled away when she shook me enough to lose her grip, to run off and tell someone the holy woman was acting strangely. But I couldn't run fast enough with the pain I was in. It didn't take long for her to catch me. Now her back was to the top of the stairs. She shoved me against the wall.
No, don't run. I'm not done with you yet.
She squeezed my shoulders. Tighter, tighter, tighter. Ooze poured from her mouth. The wounds on my shoulder reopened, the paste on them stinging on the open scabs. Warm blood spilled out and stained the dress. Yaya's lower lip was melting and contorting with every syllable she spoke.
Don't you realize how much I care about you? Look, now you're making me reopen your wounds. Answer me. You are supposed to be smarter than this. Tell me why, now.
Let me go! Yaya's long robes fluttered in front of her. The end of her dress ghosted against my chin. For the first time since I had known her, Yaya looked truly holy, the splitting image of the messenger of divine spirits. But it only lasted for a second. My hands shook. In my confusion and fear, I shoved her. Yaya twitched at the bottom of the stairs, a strange substance pulling underneath her body. Holy women bled gray-red. In her death throes, she muttered gibberish, the noise turning away from watery... The noise turning watery from all the blood spilling out of her mouth. Every few moments or so, one of her limbs would twitch uncontrollably at fast speeds. The final jerk backward, she snapped her neck completely and stopped moving. My body hit the floor hard. Once again, we want to thank every single one of our patrons for making stuff like this happen month after month. Your continued support means a hell of a lot to us. And knowing that we're doing stuff like this that you appreciate just brings a little bit of joy to our day. In particular, we'd like to shout out a couple of names from our highest support tier, including Carlos David Barrera,
Lupine Pariah,
Frosty Dragon,
Alyssa Clarkson,
Brian B,
Chris 1024,
Mercury,
Alice Demore,
and The Fighting Doll,
Snow Flurry,
and Raina. Every single one of you, thank you so much for continuing to tribute to us month after month, and I really sincerely hope that the work we put into stuff like this continues to impress you as we go along. If you're not a patron with us already and you want to support us, please do consider it. Doing so allows you to vote on whose games we play each month for these special creator-focused episodes or series. And you also get to vote on smaller things like changing our Twitter nickname. And you also get access to all of our Patreon exclusive episodes. So the Patreon potpourris, you get to watch those a month before they hit the main channel. And you get to watch the entirely Patreon exclusive Let's Play of Ace Attorney, which is, in my humble opinion, some of the best stuff we've recorded for this channel. Full stop.
It's pretty okay.
It's
Smash that like, comment and subscribe.